Chapter 1: The Accident. The first thing I noticed was the sound of rain against glass. There was no gasp, no jolt of consciousness, only the slow, uneven process of becoming aware that I was hearing it. The sound arrived before I opened my eyes. My ears had been working for some time while the rest of me caught up. I opened my eyes. The ceiling was white. Stucco. A long crack ran from the light fixture to the wall. Someone had painted over it at least twice. The layers were visible at the edges, a geological record of small repairs. A hospital room. I knew that without knowing how I knew it. The flat fluorescent light, the plastic jug on the bedside table, the faint chemical undertone beneath the rain smell, antiseptic and an older, animal smell beneath it. My own smell, I realized. My body, breaking whatever habit it had of smelling like itself. I turned my head. The movement felt wrong, not painful, which alarmed me more than pain would have, but slow, the muscles answering half a second late, as if I were dragging my head through water. A monitor's beep confirmed I was in a bed. The display showed a heart rate that was too slow, 44, then 41, then 42, and a blood pressure that was probably too low. I didn't know what normal was for me, but I knew what normal looked like on a screen, and this wasn't it. The nurse found me studying my own vital signs and went very still in the doorway. "You're awake," she said. Not a question. She was holding a plastic tray with a cup of water and a small paper cup containing pills, and for a moment she simply stood there looking at me, a sentence she'd started that she wasn't sure how to finish. "I'm awake," I said. My voice came out as a rasp. She set the tray down quickly, moved to the bedside, pressed her fingers to my wrist. Her touch was warm, aggressively warm, more heat than I expected from a stranger's hand, and I felt it register somewhere deep in my chest, a jolt I hadn't braced for. "Your pulse is very low," she said. "You must have been out for quite a while. Do you know where you are?" "Keswick," I said. The word came before I knew it. "Lake District." "Do you know why you're here?" I looked at the wall behind her. There was a small whiteboard with today's date written in blue marker. Below that, a printed card showing hand-washing instructions. Below that, a small window with rain beading on the glass. "A car accident," I said. It wasn't a memory so much as a sign already printed, the word simply there when I looked. There had been a road, or roads. Rain on a windscreen. Headlights refracting through water. A long tearing sound that might have been the car or might have been me. "Do you remember what happened?" she asked. No. This was true. I didn't remember the accident, or much of anything before it. The not remembering sat behind my sternum as an actual hollowness, a socket where something used to be. I kept probing it with my mind, the way a tongue keeps returning to a missing tooth, unable to stop checking whether the gap was real. "Can you tell me your name?" The question hung in the room. I waited for an answer to surface the way Keswick had. Nothing came. I reached for it and found only the reaching itself, a mind grasping at a name that simply wasn't there. "I don't know," I said. The nurse's expression shifted. Her mouth tightened into something clinical, and whatever she'd actually felt got tucked away behind it before I could name it. She left the room and returned within minutes with a doctor, a man with thinning hair who moved carefully between the bed and the monitors, navigating the ward like a man afraid of breaking something. He asked me more questions. Date of birth, unknown. Next of kin, unknown. Address before admission, unknown. Each answer was the same, a gap where information should have been. He shone a penlight into my eyes and watched my pupils constrict, which they did, but slowly, and with a faint hesitation that made him frown and check twice. "Your pupils respond but sluggishly," he said. "Your heart rate is significantly below normal range. Your blood work shows some anomalies we wouldn't expect to see in a healthy adult." He paused, considering his words. "Do you remember anything at all?" "A fragment. A feeling. A word someone might have called you. I thought about the gap behind my sternum, the hollowness I'd been probing. "Ren," I said. The word arrived the same way Keswick had, out of the dark place where my name should have been. It fit immediately, without explanation, a click of recognition I couldn't justify but couldn't deny. "Ren," the doctor repeated. "Ren what?" "Just Ren." I didn't know if that was true or not. The name felt like mine, but a surname felt optional, something I could fill in later, or not at all. I decided not to. There was enough to hold without adding more. The doctor and nurse exchanged a look, the kind that happens over a patient's head when neither person wants to be the first to say what they're both thinking. They ran more tests. A CT scan, which involved being wheeled through cold corridors on a bed that smelled of disinfectant and old cotton. An MRI, which involved sliding into a tube that hummed and clicked and made sounds like a machine arguing with itself. Blood draws, 4 vials, then 6, then a 7th that the lab technician had to wrestle out of a vein that kept trying to collapse. Throughout all of it, I watched my own blood leave my body with a strange detachment. It looked ordinary. Dark red, sluggishly dark in the tubes. Nothing obviously wrong with it. But the technician held one tube up to the light and looked at it for a long time, then set it aside with the others and didn't say anything at all. That night I dreamed of a room with no windows. The walls were stone, very old, and the only light came from a single candle on a metal tray. There was a smell, not antiseptic, not hospital clean, but the deep organic smell of something living and enclosed, something that had been fed recently. The candle flame bent sideways, someone had just left the room. The door was open. The corridor beyond was dark. I woke up in the hospital bed with my hands clenched around the sheet hard enough to tear it. My throat felt like I'd been screaming, though I couldn't remember doing so. The monitor showed my heart rate had spiked to 98, then was settling back down to the low 40s where it seemed to want to live. In the morning they moved me to a different room. Smaller. Further from the nurse's station. The windows faced the car park instead of the hills, and the walls were thinner, and the bed had a different kind of plastic rail that was cold when I touched it. No one explained why I'd been moved. No one used the word observation, though that was clearly what it was. A doctor came by and told me they were running additional tests and would I like some breakfast, and I said yes because it seemed like the right answer, and she brought me toast and orange juice and I sat in the bed and looked at the food without knowing what to do with it. The smell was wrong, though not bad: toast, citrus, the ghost of butter, wrong in a way I couldn't articulate. The textures on the plate looked flat and unreal. I picked up the toast and brought it to my mouth and the smell intensified, warm bread and char, and my stomach turned over, not hunger, but a revulsion sharp enough to feel like recognition. I set the toast back on the plate. I drank the orange juice because my throat was dry and it seemed like the thing throats were for. The juice was sweet and sharp and it didn't make me feel better or worse, just slightly more present in a body that didn't seem to be working the way bodies were supposed to work. A nurse came back an hour later and found the toast untouched. She made a note on the chart. She didn't ask why. By the third day I'd worked out a system. I would accept food and move it around the plate with my fork, pushing things into small piles, building small landscapes of roast potatoes and overcooked carrots. Enough to suggest I was eating without actually consuming anything. No one seemed to notice, or if they noticed they didn't say anything, which amounted to the same thing. On the third night, a different nurse came on shift. A man, older, with hands that were too large for the things he was carrying. He moved quietly around the bed, adjusting the drip stand, checking the monitor. He smelled like soap and coffee and something else, something animal, warm, which I shouldn't have been able to smell through the soap but apparently could. He looked at me directly for the first time. Not at the charts or the monitors or the machines. At me. "You haven't eaten anything in 3 days," he said. It wasn't an accusation. A statement of fact, delivered with the precision of someone used to dealing with things that were true but shouldn't be said aloud. "I'm not hungry," I said. "No," he agreed. I don't imagine you would be. He pulled the visitor's chair over and sat down at the side of my bed. The plastic creaked under his weight. Outside, the rain had stopped and the car park lights were visible through the window, casting an orange glow across the ceiling. I'm going to tell you something, he said, and you're not going to like it. But you need to hear it. I waited. You are not sick, he said. Nothing in your scans explains what you are. Your blood work is wrong in ways that are not consistent with any known human condition. And you have been in this hospital for 3 days, and in all that time you have not once shown any sign of hunger for solid food. You drink juice. You drink water. You do not eat. He paused. The monitor beeped its slow, steady, wrong rhythm. Whatever you are, he said, you are not human. And the people who are coming to see you, the ones who've already been called, are not human either. So when they get here, I suggest you pay very close attention to what they say. He stood up. The chair creaked again as the weight left it. He straightened the sheet at the foot of my bed with the same large, careful hands, and then he left without saying anything more, and the door clicked shut behind him, and I lay in the dark with the orange glow on the ceiling and the slow beep of my own wrong heart, and understood, with a clarity that felt less like learning and more like remembering, that he was right. I turned that over for a while, waiting to feel something, fear, denial, anything, and found only the same flat certainty he'd handed me, sitting in my chest like a fact I'd known before I was told it. The scar on my left wrist was old and deliberate looking. A thin pale line that followed the path of the vein beneath, as though someone had traced the blood with a blade and decided not to go deeper. I didn't know when I'd first noticed it. Sometime between the MRI and the toast. It had been there the whole time, under the hospital bracelet, and I had been circling it with my thumb without letting myself look at it directly. I looked at it now. It was real. It had been made on purpose. And the person who had made it had known exactly where the vein was and had chosen not to cut it all the way through, which meant it was not an attempt on my life but something else. Intentional. I should probably be afraid of it, or angry, or both. There was a silver chain around my neck that I had not noticed before. It lay against my collarbone, cool and fine, with a weight at the end that rested just above my sternum. I couldn't see the pendant. The chain was thin enough that it had disappeared into the fabric of the hospital gown, and when I pulled the gown aside to look, there was nothing there, just the chain, just the cool weight, with no visible ornament or clasp. I didn't remember putting it on. I didn't remember a great many things. Somewhere outside, a car door slammed. Footsteps on wet gravel. And then, faintly beneath the sound of the wind, a low-frequency hum, as if a crowd of people were all holding the same note. I lay in the dark and listened. Whatever was coming, it was coming for me.